Today's top stories. Select towns in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato vote for possible inclusion in the proposed region under the Bangsamoro Organic Law. Lawmakers approve on third and final reading the reimposition of death penalty for illegal drugs. Police in Lanao del Norte call for calm as explosions hit towns unrelated to the Bangsamoro plebiscite. And undefeated boxer Dave Peñalosa targets the vacant WBO Oriental featherweight title.
Good day, I'm Peñalosa Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Thousands flocked to precincts today to vote in the second plebiscite for the Bangsamoro Organic Law. Select parts of North Cotabato and Lanao del Norte are voting whether to join the proposed Bangsamoro region. More on this from Rom Dulfo.
6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 67 others in North Cotabato are voting to be included in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This is the second plebiscite held for the implementation of the Bangsamoro Organic Law or BOL, which will give way to the creation of an entity replacing the ARMM. Polling centers in North Cotabato opened at 8 in the morning with no untoward incidents being reported for the rest of the day. Pikit, Midsayap, and Tulunan were tagged as hotspots due to their proximity to Maguindanao, where the presence of armed groups is strong. Security forces were also on high alert in Lanao del Norte, with checkpoints placed along the national highway of every municipality of the province. Earlier, the AFP said it would take extra precautionary measures to secure the second BOL plebiscite following the bombing incident in Holos, Sulu. Meanwhile, the PNP is looking into explosions that rocked the towns of Lala, Kauswagan, and Sultan Naga Dimaporo. The 3 towns are not taking part in the plebiscite. Provincial Police Chief Leopoldo Cabanag assures that threats to bring chaos in Lanao del Norte if the yes vote loses will not prosper. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Malacanang ensures safety of those participating in the second Bangsamoro Organic Law plebiscite. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says voters will not cower before any threat and will instead exercise their rights. He says the military will do its part to keep voters, precincts, and residents safe and maintain security throughout the plebiscite. The palace made a statement following the explosion that hit Lala and Kauswagan in Lanao del Norte and Sultan Naga Dimaporo yesterday. The targeted towns were not part of the areas voting for the plebiscite. Malacanang seeks to lobby the Freedom of Information Bill before the next Congress. This is in reaction to the resolution applying additional restrictions in obtaining the statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth of lawmakers. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo earlier says the resolution goes against the Constitution and the Duterte administration's policy on transparency and accountability. PCOO Assistant Secretary Chris Ablan clarifies that President Rodrigo Duterte does not need to write Congress for the FOI bill to be passed into law. Meantime, the palace is reviewing the FOI bill for possible revisions. President Duterte signed Executive Order No. 2 providing for full disclosure of transactions by the executive branch. Journalists should be aware of their rights. PCOO Chief Martin Andanar made this statement in a meeting with the press in Davao del Sur. Andanar emphasized that as a former media practitioner himself, it was his advocacy to push for media interests. He assures that his agency will do its part in addressing and preventing media killings and harassments. He says, media are good at promoting and can even help candidates win. But we do not have enough representation. It's about time that we establish a guild to defend our rights. He also underscored the importance of conducting workshops on cyber law and fake news. The PCOO chief also distributed copies of the Handbook on Personal Security Measures for Media Practitioners, prepared by the PCOO's Presidential Task Force on Media Security. The handbook seeks to provide media practitioners with precautionary measures to ensure their safety, especially during coverage. Under Andanar's leadership, the Philippines was delisted from the Reporters Without Borders list of 5 most dangerous countries for journalists. More young voters are forecasted to vote in favor of the Bangsamoro organic law, and the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency reiterates its goal to go after high-value drug targets. More on these and other news around the metro from Miguel Hill.
Majority of the youth voting in today's Bangsamoro plebiscite are likely to be in favor of the inclusion in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The survey by International Alert Philippines shows that 71% of the youth in Lanao del Norte are in favor of the Bangsamoro organic law. 83% of the youth in North Cotabato, the mother unit of barangays seeking inclusion in the new political entity, will also vote for inclusion. International Alert had also released surveys in December 2018 and last January that predicted a win for the BOL based on the youth vote. Meanwhile, Trade Union Congress of the Philippines urged Chinese nationals working in the Philippines to make their stay legal and comply with the laws of the land. In a statement, TUCP President Raymond Mendoza says they welcome Chinese workers into the country and have been telling them to legalize their stay, follow and respect our laws, particularly the alien employment permit, so that they can also be protected by our labor laws and regulation from abusive employers and businesses. In other news, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency dismissed the impression that the government's anti-illegal drugs campaign is aimed at small fry suspects. PDEA spokesman Derek Carrion says their latest drug haul worth 1.9 billion pesos in Cavite over the weekend proves the impression wrong. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Still to come, lawmakers approve on third and final reading the reimposition of death penalty for illegal drugs. Police in Lanao del Norte calls for calm as explosions hit towns unrelated to the Bangsamoro plebiscite. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente.
January 26, Sabado, Cagayan de Oro City. Pinarangalan ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang mga sundalong nasugatan mula sa engkwentro kontra New People's Army sa Mindanao. January 28, Lunes, Holosulu. Galit at dismayadong ininspeksyon ng Pangulo ang Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral na niyanig ng dalawang pagsabog noong January 27, 2019.
Pugin ninyo ang kabusaya by whatever means. Our duty is to protect the Filipino people. And second is that we have to preserve the nation. Pag nawala yung hulo, baski isang island yan, then we have failed in our mission to preserve the territory of the Republic of the Philippines.
Binisita niya ang mga sibilyan at sundalong nasugatan sa pagsabog. Nakiramay din siya sa pamilya ng mga biktima ng terorismo at nangakong bibigyan ng hustisya ang pagkamatay ng kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. January 29, Martes, Malabon City. Pinangunahan ni Pangulong Duterte ang groundbreaking ceremony ng San Lorenzo Ruiz General Hospital.
It is my pleasure to be with you today as we lay the groundwork for a project that will soon serve not only the people of Malabon but also patients coming from adjoining areas such as Camanaba and Bulacan.
Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The House of Representatives approved on third and final reading a bill reimposing capital punishment for illegal drugs. Lawmakers unanimously voted for House Bill 8909, which amends the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Under the bill, persons found in possession of dangerous drugs while at social gatherings or meetings will face life imprisonment to death. The bill also presumes that suspects have used illegal drugs unless proven otherwise. Persons found within the vicinity of a drug laboratory will also be placed under suspicion. The bill also penalizes law enforcers found or suspected of planting drug evidence, as well as investigators who bungle their cases. Meanwhile, professional and non-professional athletes will be mandated to take drug tests at least twice a year. Other amendments also target alleged importers, financiers, protectors, and coddlers of illegal drug users. The Philippines is not surrendering or compromising any part of its territory, even as it maintains warm ties with China. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana gave the assertion amid recent movements by China in contested parts of the West Philippine Sea. Lorenzana says the government has reiterated its call on all claimant countries to finalize and adopt a valid, binding, and mutually acceptable code of conduct. Meantime, the Armed Forces of the Philippines will maintain its presence within the exclusive economic zone and do its best to safeguard the farthest ends of the country's territory. Lorenzana also noted the need for the Philippines and the United States to define their roles and responsibilities as allies. Report of further deceleration of the Philippine inflation rate last January is expected to help boost the local equities market. This as inflation dropped to 4.4% last January. The Philippine Statistics Authority reported a 4.4% inflation rate in the first month this year, slower than the previous month's 5.1%. Due to a deceleration of the heavily weighted food and non-alcoholic beverages index to 5.6% from 6.7% in the previous month. Regina Capital Managing Director Luis Limlingan said the latest inflation report is lower than their 4.5% projection. The lower than forecast figure should bode well for the market as investors will be encouraged that this will soon fall closer to the admissible range of 2 to 4%. Police in Lanao del Norte says it remains on top of the situation as it appealed for calm following the explosions that rocked 3 towns yesterday. 2 separate explosions occurred near the Kauswagan Municipal Building and in front of a gas station in Lala Town. The third explosion occurred in Sultan Naga Dimaporo Town. Provincial Police Chief Leopoldo Cabanag says several families had evacuated to neighboring areas in Misamis Occidental. He says they were likely scared off due to wrong information, but local officials are convincing them to return in their respective places so they can vote in the plebiscite. Lala, Kauswagan, and Sultan Naga Dimaporo are not part of the 6 municipalities participating in today's Bangsamoro Organic Law plebiscite. Student leaders in Dumaguete City commit to help achieve a clean, honest, orderly, and peaceful May election. Meanwhile, the LTFRB suspends a bus franchise in Davao City following a deadly accident. More on this and other stories from the provinces from Janice Cave.
In Dumaguete City, about 30 student leaders gave their commitment to help achieve clean, honest, orderly, and peaceful elections on May 19. The pledge of commitment came after a meeting called for by the Diocese of Dumaguete in efforts to tap the students and the youth for voters' education campaigns. Youth leaders are also reminded to encourage younger voters to participate in the elections. In Cebu City, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin Jr. led the launching of the 2 Passport on Wheels megavans at SMC side. Each megavan has 8 data capturing machines that can serve as many as 1,000 applicants per day. Locsin said he may conduct another off-site processing of passport in Cebu when there is a request. He said he is planning to expand the consular office in Mandaue City. In Davao City, the LTFRB has temporarily suspended the franchise of the Metro shuttle bus for a month following a deadly collision in Compostela Valley that left 7 people dead and 30 others wounded. Metro Shuttle is facing charges for multiple deaths, physical injuries, and damage to property as well as breach of franchise condition. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, Duty Free Philippines seeks tie-ups with foreign embassies to expand their clientele. Undefeated boxer Dave Peñalosa targets a vacant WBO Oriental featherweight title. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
just successful.
This is Secretary Martin Andanar, and you're watching. Now, it is only last quarter of last year na I was already verbalizing kung ano yung objective ng PCOO sa media. One is media policy. We continue to support media policies that promote the greatest welfare of the media workers. Pangalawa, we continue to promote FOI because it is FOI that guarantees public access to information. Kung sino may ginagawa ito, mga journalist. Pangatlong policy ay yung bridging the media and the government.
In other news, Duty Free Philippines Corporation is planning to partner with foreign embassies in the Philippines to review specific needs of its markets. Duty Free CEO Vicente Angala hopes that the tie-up will encourage more nationals to patronize them and determine their specific needs. He says Duty Free is willing to provide incentives such as discounts for certain nationals once a partnership with their embassy has been forged. The DFPC is currently focused on its Chinese consumers who are into perfumes, cosmetics, and fashion. Meantime, the official bear the plan to host an event where PWDs or senior citizens can get 10% discount every first Sunday of the month. In our foreign news, Chinese President Xi Jinping extended his greetings in line with the Spring Festival or the Chinese New Year. In his message in Beijing, Xi noted that the Chinese had a hard but fulfilling year as the economy took steps towards reforms and opening up. He said China had actively pushed forward campaigns to defuse major risks, carry out targeted poverty alleviation, and prevent and control pollution as part of the country's 3 critical battles. Xi called for the caring for the elderly, as well as further efforts to build a community with a shared future for humanity. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also extended his warm wishes to the Chinese people for the Chinese New Year. He thanked China and the Chinese people for their commitment to the United Nations and called for efforts to build a peaceful and prosperous world. In sports, Cebu boxer Dave the Hunter Peñalosa will fight Mexico's Marcos Cardenas on February 16 in Pasay City. The undefeated boxer is aiming for the vacant World Boxing Organization Oriental featherweight title. The 27-year-old Peñalosa has 14 straight wins with 10 knockouts to his record. Cardenas, on the other hand, has 19 wins with 15 knockouts but has 6 losses and 1 draw. The fight on February 16 is promoted by Jerry Peñalosa of the Jerry Penn's Promotions with Art Moniz as a matchmaker. The government has started the rebuilding of roads damaged in the Marawi siege. The road network surrounding Marawi is a joint project of the Philippine and Japanese governments. More on this from Sweet Lukman.
The Department of Public Works and Highways has formally started the rehabilitation of Trans Central Road severely damaged by the armed conflict in Marawi City, province of Lanao del Sur. Japanese Ambassador to the Philippines, Koji Haneda, together with DPWH Secretary Mark A. Villar and Lanao del Sur Vice Governor Mamintal Adjong, leads the ceremonial groundbreaking of the 970 million road rehabilitation projects funded by a Japanese government grant in Lanao del Sur provincial capital in Marawi City. Secretary Villar said that the project involves the civil works of Marawi Trans-Central Road Contract Packages 1B and 2 with a total length of 9.56 kilometers and detailed engineering designs of 13 other road sections under Contract Package 3 with a total length of 20.80 kilometers. Villar said these projects from Japan are first of the other significant projects that the DPWH will be implementing in Marawi City and its surrounding areas within the next 4 years to ensure better mobility to help boost the economic growth of Marawi City. The Japanese government, through Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA, has donated a total of 2 billion yen or approximately 970 million pesos for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of Marawi City and its surrounding areas, specifically of its 18.97 kilometers road network. Also present during the groundbreaking ceremony were DPWH Undersecretary Emil K. Sadain, Director Virgilio Castillo, Project Manager Francisco Sawali, and other local officials. In his briefing, Sadain said that the completion of Contract Package 1B and 2 are slated on April 2020 respectively, while construction of roads under Contract Package 3 will be carried out under JICA. Both Castillo and Sawali were tapped by Sadain to supervise and monitor the implementation of JICA-funded reconstruction and development projects in Marawi City in response to President Duterte's order to fast-track DPWH Build, Build, Build program. For PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Let's now check out weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories.
Select towns in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato vote for possible inclusion in the proposed region under the Bangsamoro Organic Law. Lawmakers approve on third and final reading the reimposition of death penalty for illegal drugs. Police in Lanao del Norte call for calm as explosions hit towns unrelated to the Bangsamoro plebiscite. And undefeated boxer Dave Peñalosa targets the vacant WBO Oriental featherweight title.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.